Hello friends, welcome to my channel.
John Bennett was sitting in his small apartment in London, glancing at the front page of the newspaper, under the headline Murder in the Village and Missing Journalist. Nights of Terror in Misty Hollow. Strange events in a small village were described. As Bennett delved into the details of the story, his professional curiosity was piqued. This was an unsolved mystery, and his journalistic instincts compelled him to go there. A week later, when Bennett arrived in Misty Hollow, he sensed an unease in the village. As he walked through the narrow streets, he saw frightened faces peering out from the windows of the houses. His first stop was the Greyhound, the village pub. One of the villagers, an old man named Arthur Whitby, was willing to tell Bennett about the events. "These shadowy beings," Whitby said, puffing on his pipe, "at first seemed like mere illusions, but over time we realized they were real and brought bad things to the village." During his stay in the village, Bennett went out every night hoping to see the shadowy beings. However, none appeared during the nights he spent there. The old church in the center of the village caught his attention. The church's priest, Father Thomas, claimed that these events were linked to an ancient curse on the village. "A great evil was committed on these lands centuries ago," the priest said, looking at the dark stone walls of the church. "Since then, once in every generation, these beings return and bring terror to the village." Before leaving the village, Bennett handed the camera to Tom. The young boy was eager to investigate these events. Bennett awaited updates from Tom as he returned to London. However, 3 days later, news of brutal murders in the village arrived. Tom was among the victims. When Bennett returned to London, he was detained and interrogated by the police. But soon after, Bennett himself disappeared. His clothes and notebook were found in the forest near the village, but he was never heard from again. Tom had written the following in his journal. February 1st, 1989. "Mr. Bennett gave me his camera today. He asked me to record the shadows. I saw those strange shadows again last night. They were very frightening. My mother forbade me from going outside, but I am curious. Tonight I will wait by the window. Maybe Bennett is right and these shadows are really important." February 2nd, 1989. At midnight, the shadows appeared again. I turned on the camera and started recording. There was something, a creature resembling a shadow, but it disappeared very quickly. If my mother knew about this, she would punish me, but I need to show this footage to Bennett. I tried to follow the movements of the shadows, but it was as if they were there one moment and gone the next. February 3rd, 1989. Today at school, everyone was talking about the shadows. Jake said his grandfather had seen similar things years ago. His grandfather hasn't spoken since then. I will wait again tonight. Maybe I can find out where the shadows come from. The camera might help me understand what they are. February 4th, 1989. Last night was very scary. The shadows came back, and this time they were closer. I could almost see them clearly. They looked like shape-shifting dark figures. The camera was recording, but I was so scared I almost dropped it. When my mother came into my room this morning, she saw the camera. She asked why, but I lied to her. I need to show this footage to Bennett. February 5th, 1989. Tonight, the shadows were even stranger. It felt like they were watching me. One of them tried to enter my room. There was a large shadow standing outside the window. It had no eyes, but I could feel it watching me. My mother is still unaware of everything. I don't know if I should tell her. Maybe we can solve this curse. February 6th, 1989. Bennett asked me to talk to other people in the village today. He told me to record everything they knew about the shadows. I spoke to the elders in the village, especially Mr. Whitby. He has terrifying stories too. He said these shadows have been here for years. Father Thomas thinks these events are connected to an old curse on the village. I need to be more careful tonight. February 7th, 1989. Something very strange happened tonight. The shadows were not just around my house, but all over the village. I took the camera everywhere, but it felt like they were avoiding me. In the middle of the night, I heard a loud noise. When I went outside, the shadows were there, but this time they were more distinct. I saw a shape, a figure resembling a human, but it was completely dark. I was shaking with fear. February 8th, 1989. My mother finally noticed the shadows. I found her crying this morning. I heard her talking to my father. They are thinking of moving away from the village. February 9th, 1989. Near the old church in the center of the village, I saw something. A large shadow, almost like a giant creature. The camera was recording, but I don't know how clear the footage will be. That creature seemed to notice me and disappeared suddenly. I need to talk to Father Thomas. February 10th, 1989. Mr. Bennett, I think that creature is trying to enter our house. Tom's journal ends here. That night, Tom and Bennett entered the tunnel and never returned. The camera recordings were never found, and only Tom's unfinished journal remained as a warning for future generations of the village. Arthur Whitby's memories. Arthur Whitby sat in a corner of the Greyhound pub, smoking his pipe, and remembered Bennett. The young man was so eager, he thought. He wanted to uncover the secrets of this village, but some secrets are meant to stay hidden. Arthur recalled similar events years ago. In the 1940s, there had been similar strange occurrences in the village. As a young man back then, Arthur had witnessed the shadowy entities spreading terror in the village. However, the village elders had insisted that these events should not be spoken of, warning that greater disasters would follow if they were. Even after Bennett's disappearance, the events did not cease. Police officer William Dawson, who had interrogated Bennett, fell into depression years later and committed suicide. The dark clouds over the village never lifted. The dark figures remained a part of Misty Hollow, and the villagers still fear going out at night. The curse of Misty Hollow became legendary over time. The village shut its doors to the outside world and made efforts to forget these events. However, deep within the village, lurking in the darkness, these shadowy entities still wait for a day to return.
I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye. See you in the next story.